Hello, everyone. Hello. Today is a pretty rainy day in Malaysia. I stumbled this video once. It's a scary mythical creature from around the world, from chat history. Chat history is another one of my go-to if I want to research about history and such. It's pretty funny. Pretty informative as well. So it's gonna be a blast. I assure you, it's gonna be fun.
Horrifying mythical creatures that you've never heard of.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. This I forgot. It start with this one. Oh God, we did not say this name. We never, because in the night, if you did say it out loud, it's a small chance that this thing can come through your window. No chance.
Seldom would you find tales of critters and creatures more terrifying than those from Southeast Asia,
Yeah.
places like the diesel of nightmare fuel. First up is the Pontianak, a malevolent spirit with a bone to pick, specifically yours, all 206 of them. Originating from the likes of Malaysian and Indonesian folklore, the Pontianak is said to be the vengeful spirit of a pregnant woman who either died in childbirth or at the hands of her partner.
Yes, is it too? That's what I
So
heard.
imagine that you're taking a midnight Malaysian stroll, slurping down a Malaysian meal of Malaysian soup.
Oh,
Through the
delicious.
aroma of boiling broth and steamy veggies, your nose catches the subtle scent of flowers. Your
Yeah.
ears, the delicate cry of an infant.
Mhm.
It's just then that you spot a figure in the dark, standing beneath a big, beautiful...
I'm set. Okay, first of all, that's a banana tree, and banana tree is nothing look like that. It was. It's just one straight trunk. It's grass. It's like a grass. It does not look like a tree. It does not feel like a tree at all. It's like a grass. It has multiple fiber. It does not look like tree, but I want to say we here around here, Malaysian, we did not actually take. Only if you actually really really know you can take one of these, you're not gonna do this
Bountiful
kind of thing.
banana tree.
Unless you're
Gracefully
teenagers,
creeping into the
apparently.
moonlight is a young woman, clad in a flowing white dress with silky, long,
They said
raven
they were
black hair
beautiful
and
at the
friggin'
same time.
sweet honkers. But that's how they get you. Seduction is the Pontianak's
Shut
weapon
up.
of choice, at least for the initial bait. But as long as you're a nice guy, you should have nothing to fear. And not the
Yeah.
Reddit definition of a nice guy. Cheaters, beaters, and legend leaguers all face a terrible fate should they cross the path of a Pontianak. So approach at your own risk. If you
Yeah.
do find yourself overcome with the manly urge to try to pick up a ghostly gal in the middle of the night, you'll notice a few things as you make your move. For one, that
Ew.
delightful floral
Don't do
scent
that.
quickly turns to pure putrescence. Her soft, pale hands now don razor-sharp nails, and her delicate face now bears bloodthirsty fangs. You're in for a rough encounter. The Pontianak has a purely
Oh, wow.
physical attack style, so keeping your distance
This is
would have
so-
been wise. If you survive the
Final Fantasy.
shock of her terrifying appearance, you're going to wish that you hadn't, as all of your pain receptors will now be the ones screaming. Speaking of which, a Pontianak may choose to let out a deafening wail, capable of
Yeah.
rupturing your eardrums. But bleeding ears are the least of your worries, because
Yes.
soon you'll have a bleeding belly. As a symbolic gesture for the child that she was never
Rip
able to
it
bear,
out.
a Pontianak will take her terrifying talons and tear through your trembling tummy, stealing your stomach, looting your liver, and kidnapping your kidneys.
Delicious.
Why?
Kidnapping.
Because they taste good. But if you don't feel like having your insides being converted to outsides, here's what you can do. First and most obvious, don't approach
Don't-
crying
don't-
women in the middle of the
yeah.
night. It's a huge
Yes.
red flag. Walk on. That's someone else's problem. Second, take a glance
Exactly.
down at her piggies. Legends state that Pontianaks have gross feet, so this may be a warning sign to hightail it out of there. Or
Just
she
does
might just
not
have
have-
gross feet. As a third option, albeit a bit expensive, is that Pontianaks apparently hate the sound of
Yes,
cannon
Kalimantan.
blasts, so if you're facing, have her stare down a barrel. Fourth, final, and
Oh,
most
wow.
effective if you find yourself about to be shredded to bits, is managing to get behind the spooky spirit and jamming an iron nail into the nape of her neck. This is the
nail.
Pontianak's
Yes,
factory
a
reset
nail.
spot, rendering her docile,
It's a
subdued, and
stick from
apparently,
Dracula.
according to some strange versions of the legend, she will become, quote-unquote, the perfect wife, at least until the nail is removed. Then she just gets back to her murderous
There-
was removed.
something
Then
happened,
she
don't
just
worry
gets back
about
to
it.
her murderous ways.
Oh no! You get a recon.
Dude, you gotta run. That Pontiac is after everybody. But I'm jamming. Well, that demon over there's about to jam her fingers into your belly, so you better... What are those? My Raycons. This video is sponsored by Raycon. Alright, Pontiac, I ain't scared of you. Oh, fuck. Now we jump ship from Southeast Asia to the forests of West Africa with the Sosobonsam. The OG jump scarer, this slippery little devil hides in the canopies of the forests of Ghana, waiting for its next victim to wander through the woods. The beings are said to be huge, much larger than an average human, with jaws capable of swallowing a head whole in one gulp. Although oddly proportioned, the Sosobonsam is ape-like in appearance with gangly, dangly arms and legs and a slender torso, often depicted with dark or red-colored fur. Using its iron hook feet to grip a grasp on Ghanaian growth, the Sosobonsam lurks in the trees awaiting its prey. Once spotted, the monster will wiggle its fingies in delight with a don't mind if I do attitude like it's about to grab the last hot dog out of the warm Wawa hot dog cabinet. Going in for the kill, the Sosobonsam swings from the tree limbs to snatch and grab any would-be traveler, should they be caught unawares alone in the dead of night. The monster's monstrous arms envelop you in a deadly death hug, crushing your bones and internals. Luckily, this will most likely send you to the Shadow Realm before it ever gets a chance to feed on your remains. If you're more of a cautious individual, the Sosobonsam may attempt to disarm or disorient you with its ability to mimic familiar sounds.
What?
Oh, what was that? Once you've been thrown off course, your life expectancy quickly drops to mere seconds as the swinging vampire monkey man makes its move. But if you don't want to end up a Monkey Man's meal, there are precautions that you can take. For one, never travel alone in the forest at night. It's kind of a takeaway lesson for this legend. Travel with a companion to avoid an untimely demise and to spark good conversation. And I told the guy, no tomato on the sandwich. And what does he do? He puts extra tomatoes on it. I mean, that's just ridiculous. Fuck up. You know, it wasn't even... Additionally, protective charms blessed by your local village priest are said to ward off the creatures as they hate the taste of religion. But if these simple solutions just don't seem possible, don't worry. For another solution is already in the making, and you can thank chocolate. Now, before you embarrassingly offer a bar to the beast, let me explain. You see, Sosobonsams thrive in the trees, so let's just get rid of the trees. Thanks to excessive cocoa farming, Ghana has lost a majority of its primary forest since the 1950s. Sure, the trees are gone, but so is this fictitious freak. Strap on some earmuffs, because this next creature's a real screecher. Slopped out of southern Slavic folklore is the Drekavac, which translates to the Screamer. This myth takes on many forms across several different variations of its story, but for this video, we will go with its infant form. The Drekavac is said to be the restless spirit of an unbaptized child, desperate for salvation. According to legend, the Drekavac takes the form of a gray, emaciated young child. Little limber limbs accompany its frail stature, offset only by its monstrously large dome, which definitely devastated a birth canal upon entry into this world. They are most prevalent around Christmas time, sure to put a damper on anyone's festivities.
Ooh, you can see that? That is Sam O'Neill, if you guys don't know that. That's a good Easter egg.
They certainly will not go unnoticed. Problem is, one glance at this little fellow will make you go, ugh. Not a thought exists behind its bulging, glassy black eyes. No thought, but death. If it wasn't obvious by its name, the Drekavac is capable of emitting eardrum-rupturing shrieks, able to bring you to your knees in a single squeal. Yeah, like that. Now, the Drekavac itself is not an immediate threat in terms of it wanting to convert you into a fresh marinara. Instead, it serves as a learning moment. It is said that those who find themselves in its shadow are doomed to die a terrible death in the coming days. Whole villages may suffer cruel fates should they spot one nearby. The legend itself is often used as a deterrent for young children, teaching them to not wander too far from home lest they cross paths with the diminutive demon. Strange howls or yells in the night from local wildlife are often attributed to the Drekavac as a way to prove their existence to traumatized children. I mean, some of us were told that a giant anthropomorphic rabbit breaks into our houses once a year to leave us candy offerings in exchange for good behavior. So is it really that far-fetched? Parents do a lot to make sure that their kids behave, don't they? Honestly, I can't wait to tell Little Chat one day about how a small fairy will break in through his window to steal his dead teeth in exchange for a few bucks. Well, like most critters, the Drekavac can be defeated. The most obvious method is having the child properly baptized, finally putting its soul to rest. So, just have your friendly neighborhood priest join the party and cast holy on its unholy ass. Or, you know, splash a cup of holy water in its face.
There you go.
Rest in peace. You know, splashed a cup of holy water in its face. Rest in peace.
Yes, rest in peace indeed.
Japanese folklore.
Taki.
Definitely a very creative culture for instilling fear into kids and adults alike. After all, we need to balance the uwu anime girls with something a bit more fearsome. The Teki Teki does just that. Born from tragedy, this ghastly ghoul is the result of a young woman or schoolgirl who had fallen or was pushed onto train tracks and failed to get out of the way in time, causing her to become 50% lighter, but 100% angrier. I prefer the story of it being a malicious push, as simply just falling onto the train tracks is your own fault. Stay behind the yellow line at all times, people.
Yes,
Being a vengeful spirit or unreal, the Teki Teki is a violent little vixen, aiming to hunt down the living who wander around deserted locations or train tracks in the middle of the night. Her existence serves solely as a cautionary tale for kids, discouraging any late-night adventures to such places. It's interesting the tales that parents come up with to protect their children. So instead of it being like, "Alright, Dad, I'm going to that old abandoned factory with some friends." The hell you are, that place isn't safe. It's more like, "Alright, Dad, I'm going to that old abandoned factory with some friends." Sure, no problem. Just make sure you don't get murdered by
the factory fingerer.
Oh.
What? Any encounter with a Teki Teki could be your last. While they are just a half-body apparition of a young girl, they're still a force to be reckoned with. You may first become aware of its arrival by the sound of its hands slapping on the cement, which is how it walks, and the origin of its onomatopoeic name. In some tellings of the story, she carries a small scythe as a weapon. Others, she bears razor-sharp nails. If approached, she may ask you a simple question.
Where are my legs?
In Japanese, of course. This is a trick question. She ain't got no legs, Lieutenant Dan. Though, if you see a ghostly gal with her insides spilling out lumbering towards you on her hands, it should be common sense that you 180 the hell out of there. But you'd be wrong. Although she is restricted to just arms for movement, she is noted to be incredibly fast, even able to catch up to cars if necessary. Once she gets a hold of you, she will treat you to a similar fate as her own, using her scythe or nails to crack you open like a football Sunday beer can. Now, according to legend, and unfortunately for you, there's no clear way to defeat her, mainly just heeding the tale's warning to avoid deserted areas and train tracks. However, I'm sure a solid 45-yard field goal attempt could get the job done.
I'd do that. Yeah, I'd try that.
What's scarier than a skeleton? A giant skull that flies. Originating from the folklore of the Iroquois or Haudenosaunee Native Americans surrounding the Great Sacandaga Lake in upstate New York, this sizable skull monster is the stuff of nightmares. Dubbed the Ganastistonje, this disembodied man-eating head.
Can I say though, it look hella cool. It's scary, yeah, sure, but God, it look hella cool.
Goal is to consume anything and everything. Men, women, children entire villages, Prilosec, you name it. These dirigible domes are said to be the cursed souls of ones who have engaged in cannibalism or other various horrific acts within their lifetime. Thus, they are doomed to roam the earth with the curse of insatiable hunger. These heads can take the form of just mere skulls, but some versions of the tale depict them as full-fleshed faces with long flowing hair, either with feathered or bat-like wings. Their description reminds me a lot of those skulls from the Zelda franchise, particularly that one giant fella in the bottom of the well in Ocarina of Time. But I digress. It is said that even speaking about them attracts them to an area, as they have been known to descend on entire villages who keep their legend alive. Once summoned, these monsters begin wreaking havoc, biting and tearing victims apart, or swallowing them in one gulp, only to have to bite them immediately after, since they have no stomach. Their speed and sheer size makes escape nearly impossible. Even if you're hiding in a house like a little frightened mouse or scared as all hell while hidden in a well, they'll attack your shack for a crack at a tender little snack. In terms of defeating them, you're kind of SOL, as legends state that the Ganastistonje is virtually immortal and thus cannot be destroyed, save for one primitive weapon: fire. So get out your lighter and your pocket can of body spray and get to it. Neat. Well, that's all for this list. These monsters would be pretty scary if they were real, wouldn't they? Want to learn about more mythical critters and creatures? Check out this video. I'll see you over there.